You're listening to Overlooked Pictures, a film commentary podcast
about lesser-known films we feel have been overlooked,
or well-known films containing aspects we feel have been overlooked.
Done in the form of a real-time audio commentary.
Intended to be played alongside the film in question
As
you
what?
listen. Hello.
Good evening, Jules.
Welcome
Back to Overlooked Pictures. And what picture are we looking over this evening?
This is one of Mr. Nicholas Roeg's. Well, this is his first feature, isn't it? We established that.
Apparently, it is Nicholas Roeg's first feature, although he had a long career as a cinematographer on a lot of famous films before getting to do his first features. Some of them included Lawrence of Arabia.
How could you not? I mean, put that at the top of your resume right there.
And what else have we got? Lawrence of Arabia, The Caretaker, the Harold Pinter play.
Okay.
Dr. Zhivago, cinematographer. Fahrenheit 451, Casino Royale.
Oh my gosh.
Far from the Madding Crowd. And then he moved on to shooting his own movies, Performance, Walkabout, and so on.
I'm actually a fan of these situations where cinematographers, editors, these people that have these very specific roles in the filmmaking process, say, I'm a director, and they give it a go, and they have this different take on things. It's nice. But anyway, so Roeg, when I think of Roeg, I think of Walkabout, and I think of Don't Look Now. So this was a new film for me, actually.
This is my first Roeg film ever. He's a bit of a Roeg director, isn't he? This is my first Nicholas Roeg film that I saw probably sometime in I don't know. I was probably in my early 20s or something.
Perfect
in the
time.
80s sometime. At a repertory cinema before we all had VHS and so on.
Repertory cinema. How do you have a repertory cinema?
I
mean artsy cinema or something.
Yeah. Well, they would play one-off films. You would get a calendar. I'm talking of the Valhalla in Sydney.
Oh, wonderful! Right.
Where you would get these 6-month calendars full of things like Agira, The Wrath of God, and other Herzog movies, and it's things like this, Nicholas Roeg movies.
And now the Valhalla is a bunch of yuppies and officers.
Yes. Repertory cinema seems to have died a natural death, really. Now we have the internet and all that.
It was a wonderful cinema back in the day, and many great experiences there. So let's raise a cup of tea or whatever we're drinking.
Yes, we're drinking tea at the moment.
Yeah.
We may move on to other things later as the film takes its varying course. Look, that's portentous. The film's just started playing itself.
The Warner Brothers logo.
We're seeing the Warner Brothers logo.
Warner Brothers Pictures presents a Time Warner company. We should begin then, if this is beginning. It wants us to begin.
Beginning of time.
SR-71.
Is there a high-altitude supersonic jet?
And that's not an SR-71.
No, I don't know. When I saw that, I realised this was a cut of the movie I've not seen before. I think this is a less censored, somewhat wilder cut. Probably R-rated, I didn't notice. Anyway, hopefully it's the same cut you, dear listener, are looking at.
Oh gosh. James Fox, Mick Jagger.
Yeah, so you had some thoughts about James Fox, Jules. Well,
I mean, my experience with James Fox is this, inevitably kind of stuffed shirt, kind of starch collar, upper class, kind of toffee-nosed kind of...
I think he fell into that archetype later in his career. I was surprised that I thought he would have done more when he was younger, but looking at his CV, this is probably one of the big main things that he did as a younger actor.
Well, it's just wonderful he did this role because his sort of screen experience for us as viewers since then has been this pretty consistent upper class figure of stability and responsibility and all that stuff. And he's so good as a bad guy. I mean, he's a great. I think this is a sociopath or a psychopath character, perhaps.
Yep, he's great. I think this is a really great, faultless performance, and I think this is actually one of the great gangster movies for me, even though it turns into something else. But
what's he doing? This poor girl, he's strangling her or something.
This is who is Chaz, who James Fox is playing. This is where his head's at. This is what he's into. This is his life.
We should say something about
his sex it's abusive sex. It's violent sex.
Okay.
This is the kind of stuff that's going to be undone as we go through the story.
Well, she's not like leaving and calling the cops. So when we say abusive sex, what do we really mean?
Well, she's complicit in this man's world.
Okay, it's a man's world, and she's willing to play by the rules.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking?
Yeah.
We'll
We'll
see
see
shot
the
this with the money clip and the watches.
He's
and
got all
pens.
the. It's like he's living out of Playboy magazine, really, isn't it? And we will see him make an orderly pile of his Playboy magazines shortly.
I didn't see the Playboy magazines. I saw the logo on, I don't know, a cup or something. But
Yeah, they haven't come up yet, but they will.
Is that a coffee machine? What is that thing? Moment of tension here. Why is he tense? What's the
he's
issue?
just
Why
building
is
up
he not
his-
relaxed?
He's doing isometric exercise.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
Oops.
Why is she putting nail polish on her cheek? It must be rouge, and you
That
spread
was
it out.
rather odd, yes.
You,
put that on your face?
you rub it outwards, and then it spreads. and
I
gives you
read
colour.
that as a mistake, but maybe it wasn't.
Oh, she wouldn't have nail polish near her face, I assume. What's he on his back? He's got
He's
some
scratched.
wounds.
He's
Oh,
been having
right.
crazy violent sex,
Right.
or semi-violent sex.
Goodness, late 60s underwear.
Now, this film came out in 1970, but it took it quite a while to reach the screen. It spent 2 years being.
Playboy.
People wanted to kill it off. It had to be censored and re-edited a few times before they were happy to. Warner Brothers were happy to release it. So it's probably more a cultural product of the mid '60s, really. Even though it's a really quite a dark, late-feeling view of the '60s, it's really pulling the whole thing apart somewhat.
I mean, does London come off well in this film? I think London seems pretty seamy, really.
Well, it's a London run by gangsters, really, and
Yeah.
I don't even remember seeing any cops, actually.
On this one,
It's just
cop-
gangland, you know.
the cop makes an appearance after the.
It's probably the East End or
Right.
something. Well, this isn't, but I mean that. Oh, that's interesting. He's got a chauffeur. Well, these are the big.
These are the boys.
These are his bosses. Yeah.
Well, he's sort of he's not really a minder. He's more of a kind of a guy that you send out to.
He gets his hands dirty for you. Yeah.
Now this character, I've forgotten his name, but he's the lawyer who's in the middle of this case at the moment. Who he is. He's excellent. He's really good. And I feel like talking like this after watching this film. Oh, a bit of,
Yeah. So they're sexist. They're racist.
Racism,
They're all that sort of stuff. That's all there to be torn down through sex, drugs, and rock and roll later on.
Yes, I mean, is Rogue playing into the hands of? Well, I think Rogue is basically saying, like it or not, this might be how it is for some people.
Mm.
I think that's kind of what he's saying. But for me, what I liked this film was just the conceit of it, which is this idea that you have this kind of venerable occupation of being a gangster, basically, a stand-over man, and all this kind of stuff, protection rackets, whatever they're doing.
Mm.
I assume there's some gambling. Who knows? Oh, there's gambling because they beat up a some sort of gambling house, don't they? They break it up.
Mm.
But there's breaking into the using the artistic community or the rock and roll, the music community as a blind, as a hiding in plain sight. That's a great idea. You know?
Mm.
I mean, these days it'd be hard to do and not do some sort of weird comedy, I think. But just to do this straight, this scene isn't very strange. So they've been hired presumably to go and put fear into the hearts of these workers for some reason. So if the owner's not happy with the efficiency or something, and this is how they deal with it? Is this?
Yeah, I don't remember. Obviously, they're making some kind of territorial play here. And,
Is that what it is?
but I think they're roughing up all these people in the company, but they're actually sending a message to the bosses, the boss of this company. Right?
Okay. So this is just another part of the game. So the court case is one level of the game.
Mm.
This is another level in terms of this merger attempt or whatever is happening.
Mm. Well, then again, he just mentioned the word protection, so it could be as very simple, just protection racket going on here. You haven't paid us off, so we're going to rough you up. You know, there could be consequences.
It's obsolete. There's some very funny work from the other standover men. You know, I guess what are they? The straight men to I don't know, whatever they are. This guy. He's very funny, in his horribly dark way.
Mm.
And the sound, what is this ridiculous wheedling? It sounds like a bad ringtone going on.
Oh, it's quite a subversive sort of, I suppose, soundtrack. Yeah, that's, I don't know, electronic music was not so familiar back then,
Yeah.
I guess. It was the age of the Moog synthesizer sort of just coming into...
Is it meant to suggest like a mind
Play.
going haywire? That one of the characters' mind is full of this
Yeah.
crazy noise or something? Or?
Yeah. Well, there's discord between what's being said and what's happening elsewhere, I guess.
The guy in that photo with the low angle, he's the boss. Here he is. This guy's in charge, I think.
Harry, yeah.
Harry, bloody Harry. So we should talk about editing. So, I mean, Roeg is not an editor, he's a cinematographer, but what interesting editing he does, where he does a sort of flash forward, flash back.
Yeah, all this simultaneous stuff going on, but it's actually not all happening at the same time.
It's really exciting to watch.
Narratively, yeah.
Because unlike a lot of films today where you get the impression that everything's been determined very carefully, and what you're capable of understanding as a dumb audience member has been factored in, and you're not being pushed in a lot of ways. The nice thing about this is that these are all, in a sense, facts which you as an audience may or may not want to pay attention to in terms of experiencing this film. And Roeg is saying, listen, if you don't get them all, well, fine. Deal with it. You're going to kind of know where things are going, and you shouldn't worry too much about it.
There's all this kind of surreal thing, like the jury there has turned into a bunch of guys watching a porn movie.
I mean, this is a different bunch of 12 guys, I assume, or is it this?
Well, it's sort of No, I think they actually slowly transformed the jury into the film audience.
Right. Gosh. So I was thinking about Russian mafia for some reason at this part of the film. I'm thinking, I guess this is just what they get up to. It's just...
Yeah, I guess it's all the same, really.
Same stuff. Yeah, it's venerable stuff.
With a few sort of ethnic eccentricities.
Epithets.
But it's basically the same business, isn't it?
Bit of pornography. Oh, and the conservative British sexual hang-ups are well documented. We don't need to go into them here.
Yeah, but I think there's this whole thing of sex without love, too. Sex is just this...
Sex without love. Is this character capable of love? I mean, he's a
well, not at the moment. No, that's the whole
point.
point. He probably isn't at the moment.
I've got a message for you. For ya. So I'm surprised this came off. I mean, wouldn't they just call the cops and...
Well, it doesn't always work that way, Cops don't always hold all the cards. Cops may not be entirely committed,
Don't interrupt.
They may be in cahoots with the bad guys.
Goodness. I mean, this is James Fox's moment. For the rest of his career, he plays the other guy.
Yeah, he's going to be on. Yeah, that's right.
He's really getting his teeth into it now. Your miserable existence. Yeah, filthy. The use of filthy. That takes me back.
Filthy. Shut your bloody hole.
Bloody hole.
Filthy.
So two entirely different worlds intersecting here, which is very cinematic.
I quite like this guy. He does understand. He knows that
He's
the
a
voice of authority isn't as authoritative as it makes out.
It's the lawyer who doesn't get it, right?
Yeah.
Wow, this is like two wolves looking at each other in the wild. And very disarming, that this charming manner with the underlying threat, it's pretty effective. Yeah.
It's almost like a one-man good cop, bad cop. I'll sort of sweet talk you before I rough you up.
Yeah. But even that is more sociopathic somehow, Yeah, pretty good, that lawyer, I think. He's holding his own. That's a gentleman's club or something, I assume.
Oh,
Lotus of Lamb. Oh, Mini. Jagger type. And I've missed out what was behind the
Target.
Gosh.
Now, I guess this guy works for that wealthy guy, and he is actually going to take the rap for... They're going to beat up his driver and wreck his car.
Yeah, so Is this
underline the
Rolls?
points that he was making verbally the night before.
Yeah, yeah. Now, this Rolls was established, I think, at the opening. This is the opening scene Rolls, the stretch Rolls.
I think so,
Stretch.
yes. Yeah.
And this looks risky to me. So they're in an enclosed environment. Looks like real acid,
Yeah.
and they've got the actual actor doing the delivery, and there's another actor, sitting nearby. It's pretty risky.
So I wonder if this could just be dry ice or something. I mean, it's not like
I don't know.
in the Italian Job where they actually mash up an E-type Jag. They could.
Oh no, there was a Lamborghini Miura.
Was it?
That's
Oh,
what
so
they
it
destroyed
was.
in the opening scene. Heartbreaking that was.
Yeah, I don't see the paint actually coming off here yet.
Later on, yeah. I mean, it comes off beautiful. It's like you've got beautiful shiny steel underneath.
Yeah.
Thing is that I mean, the guy's just going to get the car painted again, right? He's going to.
Yeah, I
Oh,
guess.
thanks. I was getting tired of blue.
Yeah. No, I'm just wondering if they actually wrecked a rolls for this scene.
Well,
Whether they
it's
faked-
probably a silver
whether
rolls
they
and they
faked
painted
it.
it blue, and then
Mm.
they hit it with some chemical. This is pretty rough, isn't it? With the,
This guy's really taken the rap. I mean, he's just.
I hope he was paid well.
This is like class treason, really. They're picking on the working class guy, taking
important
the
thing,
rap
though, is
for his
that-
boss.
They're not personal about it, so they're very cool-tempered as they do all this. They've just
Mm.
been given their instructions,
Mm.
they're doing it, and in a sense the guy who's the victim knows that they're not being personal.
Mm.
It's by virtue of the fact that he's the employee that he has to put up with this.
Mm.
And,
Maybe.
he
he hasn't got
needs-
much choice there. He's gagged and...
Yeah, no,
So-
but the thing is that if he would have, like, panic,
Right.
gosh, he's really out there. And this cross-cutting is just really,
Mm.
really effective.
Yeah.
So you've got the shaving and the acid and
Yeah.
the shaving and gosh.
The bit of reading I did would give a lot of responsibility or credit for his editing style to his editor, whose
Yeah.
name escapes me at the moment, but it may have influenced what he did in his later films, because it certainly... The style was set in this film for a lot of his later ones.
Gosh, he shows him his own look with a mirror. Did you see that? Actually, the thing it reminded me of, the opening of this film was the opening of a very unpopular cult film, The Hunger, the vampire film.
Yeah.
And I wonder, now that I think about it, if in the director's commentary for that film, whether Mr. Scott, not Ridley Scott, his brother, Tony Scott,
Tony Scott, yeah.
whether he referenced performance by name. He might have.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's certainly reminiscent of what we've just seen, really.
Yeah.
The opening and that, and other scenes. This juxtaposition of stuff. It's a bit Lynchian in a way, too.
Sure. Oh, well, I've got a whole thing about that, actually. If we ever do Don't Look Now, I think it's manifestly obvious that Lynch was a huge Roeg fan.
Right,
And he doesn't talk about it
Yeah.
at all. And he owes Lynch owes Roeg, I don't know, a Porsche or something.
Yeah. Well, we all stand on the shoulders of giants,
Sure.
I guess, to various degrees.
He did a little cut with the boxer popping up.
Yeah, they've got to have the boxing in there.
It's, oh, gosh. So much is happening.
Well, yeah, it's a bit complicated what's actually going on. It doesn't matter in the end. The point is that Chaz is going to get into trouble and have to go on the run and enter a strange land.
Oh, it's a really good film. And the thing is, people associate it with Jagger when really it's Fox. You know, Fox is what it's about.
Yeah. Fox is totally the protagonist, yeah, the anti-hero.
The other thing I was thinking about was rap gangster type films. You know, you have the Hood and the Boys in the Hood and the hip hoppy kind of guys with their, you know, meticulously organized look. You know, with the beautifully clean and almost shiny tracksuits and the brand new shoes and doing the gang related drug and all that other stuff that is stereotypically associated with that kind of thing. It almost feels to me that many of those films are remakes of things like this.
Yeah.
Pardon me. It's like they've said, oh well, we have a new type of street dynamic.
Yeah.
Let's serve up this treatment or something like this treatment for the current generation. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
so
well, I
what's
guess
going on here with
the gangster world is probably limited to certain tropes. I mean, the business has changed. Is it drugs or is it prostitution? Is it
What do you
intimidation?
make of this
That's
blowout and the pullback and stuff? What was all that about, do you think?
that was reminiscent of the jury thing turning to the movie audience. They said the light changed to a colour blue. It just seemed to be a bit of a reminder of that. Probably because,
Yes.
again, we're not listening to the dialogue. We might be missing
Yeah,
some meaning there.
a lot of this is they're chatting about they're judging previous associates, for their behaviour and their look, secret stuff.
Well, it certainly looked very menacing when it did that. They're all sort of laughing at Chaz a bit, like they've got.
Yeah,
Chaz is ambitious, obviously, and they're all thinking he's a bit of a punk. And
yeah. He's also not.
if he steps out of line too far, he's going to get into trouble, which is
Right.
what happens. What's he doing here? With
I
this?
get the impression also he's not very sophisticated, is he? I mean, he's kind of he's very into his look. I mean, he's a classic psychopath, right? I mean, he's really into his look. He's meticulous. He's probably got an excellent memory for slights.
But look, it's the kind of thing you do by taking direction. It's not creative. What he's doing is that he's trying to conform to
Right.
an
That's
ideal thing about the lad. See, this is what. Yeah. See, he puts his Playboy magazines in.
Is that
orderly
Playboy? Oh, maybe
fashion.
that is
Yeah.
Playboy. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if
And
Mr.
he's got the
Hefner would
Playboy
approve.
deodorant or whatever.
Oh, right.
Whatever that would
Might
be.
have been
Scent.
cigarettes. So this presumably is the owner of the betting shop that we're seeing trash in.
Well, he's part of the underworld too, but a
Yeah.
different part of the underworld.
This guy looks
Probably
like
all
he's
makes sense, but I'm not quite sure at the moment.
very young, vibrant sort of crew. This guy's what, from World War II, I guess, with a jaw injury,
Yeah, dunno.
reconstruction.
Well, cops can get into a bit of bother on the job. But yeah, it could be a war thing.
And look who
war
walks in.
injury.
And I'm really glad they didn't give this role to, who's that guy who talks like this? Who was Butler? Who was the Alfred the Butler in the recent Batman films?
Oh, not... Michael Caine.
Michael-
Oh, he's very Michael Caine. Yes,
no,
he's like the
no,
young
I'm so
Michael
glad.
Caine roles, isn't he?
I'm so glad they didn't give this film to Michael Caine. I'm
Oh,
so
you
glad
know
he was
what?
Fox.
You know who was originally going to do this?
Uh-huh.
Marlon Brando.
Really?
It would
As a
not have
Brit?
worked. I don't think it would have worked at all.
Well, he can
Well,
do.
it might have, but yeah,
he
he's
can do a British
versatile.
accent. Or he could do a British accent, but he
Yeah, but
can't-
also playing against Jagger, these two sort of
right,
big
right.
sort of ego stars.
Yeah.
You know, they're kind of famous for being themselves rather than more so than their work. They would have been a bit too similar in a way.
This is very effective. These glimpses of this kind of, well, the Japanese call it the floating world. You know, the world of performance and prostitutes and drugs, and it's just little glimpses.
Funny, just when you said prostitutes, they cut directly
Yeah,
to one.
I just saw the film.
Oh, right.
I'm
Do you watch it
timing what
this
I'm
morning?
saying.
I probably watched this about 5 years ago or more.
What's the other thing? So they're actually documenting the boss with the this young guy who the boss is trying to move on. And I think he says something about, "You been merged, matey. You got to enjoy it." You know. Doesn't he look ill in the middle of the two of these? It's the three shot, but it's the four shot because there's that guy on the right.
Yeah.
And these girls are just, I mean, they're just decoration. They don't say anything. And they're making fun of him again.
Yeah, they're trying to put him back in his place, but he wants to.
Yeah.
He wants to go places, other
Well,
places.
yeah, he can only work for this guy for so long. That's pretty clear. He enjoys his work,
Yeah,
and they ain't the
and they
other.
probably see that coming, and they might have to. You know,
Sorry?
they probably see that coming, and they might have to do something to
Clearly they do. Yeah.
nip him in the bud.
And he doesn't see it. He just assumes that it's on them. The thing is that this boss, what's his name? This guy on the right.
Harry
Is it
Flowers.
Okay, Harry Flowers. is there some hint that his sexuality is not commonplace or something later? Look at this guy on the left. Look at that smile.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's like a malevolent devil. There's all this malevolence sort of in the background threatening.
Good shot. Collecting one day. Look at these.
But to your question, I'm not sure. I haven't watched it recently enough. I haven't watched him. But I think there's this sort of homoerotic homophobia thing
Yeah.
threaded all through this
Yes.
world as far as, the authors of the film are concerned.
That's
This
true.
all this repressed homoerotica which becomes homophobia.
Harry Flowers also reminds me of Alexei Sayle.
Yeah.
Do you remember him on The Young Ones?
Yeah.
He'd be the Russian, was he a landlord?
Mm.
He would come by and try and convert them to the cause or something.
And Chaz has buggered off. He's not in the mood.
Oh, look at this. These two guys.
That boy's in bother.
That's true. That's true
Yeah.
too. Look at this. They break the fourth wall. What's with that? And
They're
like the
basically
others-
looking at the camera and telling us that they're going to have to
I think so.
discipline Chaz. And here
So-
it is underway already.
But they didn't do this. They didn't make this move. I mean, this is the guy whose gambling joint was messed
Right.
up. And there's the flash forward to Mick with the
Yeah.
spray paint.
Yeah, so we've got this cross-cutting of red paint, which is kind of nice.
So he's in. He takes a sock to the
And they
jaw.
got into that very quickly. Didn't into the flat, they just cut from the street to the
Yep.
the tussle.
Almost time. These bloody feathers, I tell you, paint and feathers, that's a nasty
He's
combo.
like being tarred and feathered, isn't he?
Yeah, it's just depressing stuff.
And
Good swings.
Chaz takes some taking down.
But this is what Chaz should be all about. It's, the tussle. Oh, no, he's not a... Is he a fighter? He's more of a stand-up threatening guy, isn't he? Than a
Oh,
fighter?
he's doing all right against four guys.
He
or
certainly
whatever,
is.
But, anyway.
Yeah, hold him. That's the cards. Oh, poof. There we go.
Yep.
Sock to the jaw. 1960s electronics. Busted up. No, he had a puppy once, it seems. Oh,
really?
Photographs of himself doing muscle. Oh dear.
Yeah, so we're going to this whole sort of thing of getting a bit of S&M and a bit of homoerotic imagery of him with his shirt off in these black and white photographs.
Okay, now Joey owns the gambling joint that was busted up, right?
I guess so, yeah. I'm not sure why this all went wrong or why
Well-
everyone wasn't on the same page with that,
But why is he attacking Chaz? Because Chaz is just following orders, surely. It's, well, he's thinking.
well,
of
they want to
being-
discipline Chaz, so they're letting this guy get payback or something.
Is that it?
Might be that.
Yeah.
I'm sure it wouldn't be hard to work out, but we've missed.
Well, no, I
That.
watched it just now. See, the thing for me
Okay.
is it's ambiguous, but also there's, weirdly enough, it's a bit like intelligence, where you have agents and you have situations where, who's really motivating this act? Is this act emanating from the apparent source, or is there another source? And so he's pretending to be out, I think.
So what were they trying to do? They make him say, "I'm a poof."
I-
Again, it's the sexuality thing. Is the great thing that has to be under control.
Shut your full female. And he's got him. Nice of him to give him
Can't keep a
wink.
good man down.
And that awful underwear.
So he knocks that guy out. That was very lucky.
Yeah.
He's kind of got to knock all these guys out. So it's just him and the
And he's got a 38
other
or
guy.
something hidden
Yep,
in the
he's
bottom
got
of the
gun. The tables are turned. So the other guy just runs away.
Yeah.
That guy's out of it.
Oh, that's a Browning, I think, actually. He's got enough bullets for all of them, for sure. James Fox.
And that's
half
kind of
naked,
kinky.
covered in
even.
blood with a gun.
Yeah, it's kind of kinky with the tie over the bare chest.
Yeah, it is kind of kinky. Look at this. He's buffing out, and this dude's settling onto the bed, and there's these two stupid lamps. Mick. What's Mick got to do about this? He's getting personal. Chaz is getting personal.
And there's all this ego destruction going on in this world.
Right.
Always trying to crush each other's egos.
I am a bullet. Okay, so. And I think he takes him through the lung or something.
I don't think they went into that much detail, but yeah, he's done the deed. Oh, he's going to do it again.
He's been hit. So it's a slow process. That's a really good line. Look at that. Because they're kind of like school kids, aren't they? In a playground. And here we go. There's the playground.
Well said. You knew that was coming, didn't you?
I did know it was coming. But it's just thrown in. Boom. This 1950s.
That's
heavy
nice.
bobby
He's just reduced to a sort of dog, isn't he?
on the ground.
Nice. I mean, nice in a not a nice way, of course.
So, police-wise, I mean, this looks like an assault, in a private residence, and he's responded with an illegal weapon. So he's going to get some time or something, but I think by virtue of his career, he's not going to be able to allow the police to get involved.
So he lets that guy go. It's
He
interesting.
does, yeah, he doesn't want to kill him.
Yeah.
And they could easily stick a knife in him or shoot him right now, but they run, or he runs. One's
already.
There were three, weren't there?
One ran away before, I think.
Okay.
The other guy was knocked out and then he woke up.
Right.
That guy.
Here's the one cop, I think. that's
He's
in the
going to
film.
tell the tale. Just a minute.
Just a minute. Gosh. Those cops, they're like teachers. And
Actually, that's the only cop in the film, I think.
I think it might be. We'll find out.
So Chaz realises he's got a kind of...
Scarpa.
Yeah, scarper.
We should do the entire cast now in this sort of criminal argot. What do you think?
Right. I don't know if I
That's
can.
not good,
You
actually.
got to have the lingo as well, or it just don't work.
Bloody hell. Oh, shut your filthy mouth, mate.
Shut your bloody hole.
I can say what I want. Now, this can of paint really
Why does he
puzzled me
take the
at first.
paint? Why
You'll
is he
see.
taking the paint?
He's really forward-thinking in a strange way.
Right.
Now,
He's
those
so
Chaz-
he's going to put it in his hair. He's
Yeah.
going to do this terrible
Yeah.
disguise job.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
that's,
it seems to work. For he'd smell bad, but this is a very strange scene. Gosh, this really reminded me of Kubrick, I have to say. A guy in bed with mirrors everywhere, and these dudes waltzing in and out.
Yeah, obviously not welcome visitors. They just walk in and they've got a problem with this guy. Who is this guy in the bed anyway? Is this...
This is a nice detail.
Yeah.
Now, the last thing these guys want to be referred to as gangsters.
Yeah.
This was non-stop. Cut to this, cut to that, boom, boom, boom.
Right.
So he's looking for help.
So
This nice-looking
who was
guy.
in the bed before? Harry, I guess.
Harry's in bed, yeah. And what's with this dude with the
That's
freaking...
kind of gay looking, isn't it?
What was going
it's
on
like
over
a bit of a sauna thing.
I think Harry Flowers likes the boys.
Maybe that's...
Isn't
Yeah.
that- Is that a boy
And look at what he's
magazine?
looking at. Right.
I think it is.
Okay, well, there you go.
Well,
That's
the-
surprising, actually, because I always thought they were all just supposed to be, like, too repressed for all that.
Well, my question is that has Harry Flowers used Chaz in a different way earlier in Chaz's career? That's-
Oh,
I don't know. This guy's good, actually.
He's sort of having his childhood memory like he hasn't
Sure.
really left his childhood.
The interiors are just so awful in this film. Until we get to the artsy stuff, the rock and roll stuff, but they're just horrible. Those mirrors are just dreadful too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes the boys. That's
Right,
great.
there you go. I think all this was cut out of the version that I'd seen.
Right. This is a different film, technically. More mirrors.
No
more
wonder I
reflections.
didn't get it.
So he's still playing the father figure.
He's yet to twig that they're all after him. That Harry was in on all that.
Was he? Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Nothing goes
Or
down
he
on a
allowed
smiley
it.
occasion.
He was allowing it.
Interesting line. This is very much like a spy film right now.
Yeah.
I need to get in out of the cold. Help me. And you're wondering, the people that I'm going to, are they worse than the people I'm running from?
Yeah, and it's usually when they ask, "Where are you?" that they
Yeah.
get suspicious.
Exactly. Yeah. It's very effective. And the incredibly casual, relaxed mode that these other gangsters
Yeah.
persistent.
Well, that's often the case with these gangs. None of them really care about each other. They're all expendable.
I don't know. I mean, I would.
Well, it's kind of a
but I'm
weakness.
assuming that there'd have to be some sort of brotherhood thing going on.
Oh yeah, but thematically, the baddies they don't have love. They don't have.
Love. What's love for, man?
Well, it's a
Just
movie.
Back, oh. Love. This is interesting. This lone figure in a tunnel, I guess he's drawing himself.
It looks like he's drawing a hangman or something, but it's kind of he's crossing himself out, same kind of thing. Hello, Harry. Hello. He's sort of realizing he hasn't got any friends.
So this is the very effective part of Fox's performance and Roeg's work here, is this idea of making this rather nasty piece of work to generate sympathy for this character.
Mm.
And that's well done. I mean, I'm not sure if it would be that easy if Fox wasn't as charismatic and attractive, and I mean, he looks like a. Here's the scene I was referring to. So presumably that's the guy in the bathroom that we saw.
Right.
He's smiling at.
That wasn't the first time he looked at the camera.
He didn't know looking at the camera. He was looking, I think, past. Well, I mean, he was looking at the guy who was wearing the sort of towel thing that we saw.
Right. Yeah.
Look at this S-Class. This was like a classic gangsters car in the 60s, apparently. They had like, I think, V8s and stuff occasionally.
No, he's going to do this terrible, ridiculous makeup job.
Well, I mean,
Couldn't
it's
he
done
just
properly with...
Go and say, I
with the
need some
dye.
hair dye for my girlfriend, please. Walk into the chemist or whatever.
Oh, there's Mick. I don't know, it's not as rock and roll. And Mick is not wearing a face mask. He should be wearing a mask.
No, Mick's just doing some interior decorating.
Very
Because he
rock and
lives
roll.
a life of... What would you call it? Well, he doesn't have to do anything much. He just does whatever he likes, pretty much.
Well, it's
just-
it's black, right?
Retreated into a world of his own creation, really. Anyway, we'll get
He's
to that.
self-actualized.
We'll get to that.
His mother, right? Yes, of course.
You're going to call your mum. Yep, that's part of it. All part of it.
So how much does the mother know? What do you think?
You're not in trouble again, are you, Charles?
She doesn't know anything. Look at this. Give him my love. He just drops in once a week, and he looks nice and
Probably
clean
sends her a bit of
and
money,
wearing suits
maybe.
and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm in the nightclub business, mother.
Yeah.
It's going very nice.
Mm.
I just talked over that probably important exchange. So here's the turning point, I guess, where he changes worlds.
Well, he's in no man's land now, isn't he? He's got nowhere to go, no friends. He's going to have to look for somewhere unfamiliar into that place and lay low there.
Looks like a guitar amp from the back. Wow, slow-mo for some reason.
Why would you do that? Just spontaneous kind of...
I don't know, does she like the look of him or something? Or... This
Wouldn't
guy's
know.
very
Jimi
articulate.
Hendrix walks into the room.
Well, kind of. Yeah, I suppose he is, isn't he? I suppose he would be.
Kind of. He could be, well...
He's meant
It's interesting. He knows Jagger.
Yeah, I like this, the mother and son here, because presumably she's the mother, I assume. So she met some African American guy, presumably maybe Jamaican or something. What, 20-ish years ago, and that's she's really ahead of the curve.
Oh, he's going to take this guy's flat.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just moved out of Turner's place.
He doesn't assume his identity; he just takes the flat. That's right.
Yeah. He finds out there's a vacancy that he will.
Nice push in on the air. Actually, it's a zoom in, isn't it? Everyone's smoking. So this is also quite official. He gives him the address. He gives him the entire backstory.
Handy, very handy.
But this guy's perennial. You could find this guy in any decade.
Well, he is very... oh, really? I don't know.
Very well.
I was going to say he's quite Hendrix with that shirt. It's
Yeah, the green.
reminiscent of Jimmy's jacket. His Napoleon-esque, or his Wellington-esque jacket.
Now we got some blues guitar as Chaz. These are taxis, I think. as Chaz charts out his new life. And Notting Hill, oh, how very cool. Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? Harry Flowers. Why do we cut to Harry Flowers? We're just cutting to Harry Flowers.
I was going, oh, Chaz has gotten away from me. That's all I got out of that shot.
Oh, Notting Hill girl. Wow. Indeed. She's got the milk and the cheese or something there.
Notting Hill's looking a bit down market in this period of history.
Yeah, it doesn't look like this anymore, huh?
There's many upmarket marketplaces that are now upmarket that were once somewhat destitute.
It looks like David Bowie. Look at this. Oh, of course he does. He's the man who fell to earth. I love this exchange between, I think it's Anita Pallenberg and James Fox. Oh my gosh, Anita Pallenberg, wow. Magic mushrooms.
No, they're oysters.
Oyster mushrooms.
What are they doing there?
Oyster shells. I don't know. That kid looked like the guitarist.
Yeah.
This
It's
is
a
actually,
funky neighborhood.
This is actually not a recording. She's just having fun with you. Where is Pallenberg from? Is she German? What is she?
French, I think.
Oh gosh.
I could be wrong, but I think it's French.
I love it. I don't know. In the 60s and 70s, so many people were doing drugs that, you know, if you were dealing with someone who wasn't making sense, you just persevere. These days, I think people just sort of disengage extremely quickly if everything isn't lined up perfectly.
Yeah. Well, drugs are no longer a new thing. People have set opinions about people who take drugs and certain kinds of drugs and all that sort of thing. You wouldn't waste your time trying to work them out. You'd probably write them off.
Right. Well, speaking of which, we should probably get into that hemp that we were talking about that's in your fridge.
Yes.
Shall we do that? Shall I go get that hemp?
If you're in the mood for some hemp,
I'll get that.
You
can keep them.
I'll keep the listener entertained, I hope.
It's the Mick Jagger.
Oh, look, now Chaz is... Oh, this is some threshold thing if you want to look at archetypal the hero's journey things. He's entered the threshold to the magical world or the other world or something. And the fact that there's no one there, and there are wild beasts, the heads of wild beasts, but nevertheless wild beasts sort of being seen in the forest surrounding him. He goes down into the belly of the beast. I'm just kind of doing a bit of a mashup of the hero's journey here. It doesn't quite unfold necessarily in the way that I'm describing. Doors opening on their own. Very disorienting for Chaz, who used to be the master of his domain and clearly is no longer. He's like a frightened puppy that's fallen out of a passing car or something and has to find some friendly humans. Because that's how he knows how to survive. And Chaz's biggest challenge at this point is to look like he's part of this world by pretending to be an artist, which he'll make a ham-fisted job of by saying he's a juggler, which is within the least a fashionable art form.
Here you go, my lad.
Here you are, son. Thank you, my boy. Now,
we should explain to the audience what we're actually drinking.
Yes, we are actually drinking something called hemp, which Jules picked up on the way here. He saw two drink cans of hemp, and something possessed him to, probably the theme of this film, to pick those up. Now, what we discovered about hemp is it is merely an acronym for...
An acronym?
And I don't have my glasses.
Oh, I can read it out.
What does hemp stand for again?
Highly... Oh, I think this can doesn't have it on it.
Oh, God damn it.
I'll give it the other one.
Come on, the joke's falling apart now. It's taking too long. Sorry, listeners, we're fumbling in the fridge, or Jules is too.
Okay, it stands for highly enjoyable magic potion.
Yes. So once you read the fine print, which that is, you discover that highly enjoyable magic potion is merely an acronym
Yeah, and it's very sugary.
brand for just another caffeine, taurine, guarana
Yeah.
soft drink. And so we were sold that on completely false pretensions, and it's going to head us off in completely the opposite direction from what was intended.
So what's the deal here with the...
Instead of becoming less like Chaz, we're going to become more like Chaz.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
Actually, this is Chaz's drink for sure. So what is it with Anita Pallenberg? She's just ritzy, razzle-dazzling and...
Well, she was Keith Richards' girlfriend at this time.
Actually, yeah. Well, she was in this film as
And
well.
another casting decision change was that originally that was going to be Marianne Faithfull, but she
Oh.
was pregnant at the time with a baby that miscarried, and she got very upset and took a lot of heroin. And songs are written about that. It's all just part of rock and roll history.
It's a blonde in a translucent dress with an 8mm. What's wrong with this picture? Nothing.
I'm sorry.
She's making fun of the Ferrari joke. So this, I got to say, the Jagger stuff feels a little forced. It's like, okay, we got Jagger, therefore...
Well, they've certainly teased us a lot about saying, well, Mick Jagger's in this movie. But I think he does quite well.
Sure.
Which he hasn't necessarily in other films.
Right.
I think he had a bit of a lesser career than David Bowie in films.
Oh, David Bowie's a great actor. He's really great.
He has been sometimes.
He's been great.
He was good
terrible.
in Man Fell to Earth, and he was good as Tesla in the Prestige or something.
Well, what's the film you don't
Just
like?
I think just a Gigolo. I think had some. He's terrible, Andy Warhol in
Oh, is he?
the Basquiat film.
Okay.
Terrible performances, Andy Warhol.
Anita Pallenberg. I just think of Barbarella. And I think of Anita Pallenberg for some reason. She's the Empress or the Dark Black Queen or whatever she is.
Oh, I wonder what the she was in that, wasn't it?
Yes, she has a
would have
someone
been a
does
bit
her
before
voice.
this. Bit before this.
After, I think. She
Yeah.
says things like, doomed. Doomed.
Well, you don't know what year Barbarella came out.
Oh, I think about 74 or something.
Oh, really?
Who
Not
knows?
60s. Oh, would have been
I think
after
70s.
this. Well, after this. This was finished in 68.
Okay, right. Well, yeah.
It took 2 years to come out, as I mentioned.
So who is Pallenberg kissing? It's Jagger.
Well,
Very
those
young
lips are a
Jagger.
bit unmistakable, I guess.
I should be able to recognize Jagger. It's the lips.
So clearly we're in a very, very different world from Chaz's world.
Well, he had a
World
world full of
Chaz.
chicks and boobies. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but he's not slapping them around.
Oh, well, Mick Jagger's unconscious. I don't think he's doing
But
that.
he's not going to slap them around. Just take it from me. He's not going to beat up any women or punch anybody out or shoot anyone. Or
Well, he's American, you see. It's...
no, he's not.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, he is now. He
Well-
certainly became very American. He still has a Cockney accent, though. He's been living in New York for about 20
Sorry,
30
I'm
years or
from another
Yeah.
universe where Mick Jagger is American.
No, he's been in New York for a long, long time.
Okay, Mick, we're going to stick you in bed with these two girls. One of whom is Anita Pallenberg, all right? Any problems? Just, work out something.
Anyway, so we've entered this world very alien to Chaz because it's a world of not clearly defined genders and
Right.
hedonism and
Unmotivated
harmlessness,
sex
really.
scenes.
There's no sort of aggression.
The music is good. This is, I think, a cymbalum or something they call them. It's like this hammer.
This is like
little hammer.
Turkish instrument, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a little, it's like a zither or something. They hammer the strings or something.
Yeah.
The lady who lives down near the Melbourne border from Dead Can Dance, she's really good at that stuff.
Right.
She does that stuff really well. Whatever.
And the other thing about this world, it's totally enclosed. We never see a window out into the street. It's
Yeah.
as if they never leave.
Like, screw the outside
And
world.
in fact, they don't in the course of this film. Somebody brings the shopping, I guess. Somebody delivered this little girl. I don't know. I never quite worked out who she is or why she's here.
Hmm.
Except to wear a moustache and look sexually ambiguous.
I'm a new lodger.
Yeah, okay.
God, this kid is a bob. A bob is not a pound, is it? It's like a shilling or something, or it's a... Oh, it's a bob. That's
So
a
she
pound.
does the shopping. She's like the... I don't know. I think there's an investigation to be done about this little girl and why she's in this house. But anyway.
God, she looks like Frankenstein in that green light, doesn't she? Monster, sorry.
Which of those towels that sort of looks vaguely Moroccan or something?
The perennial discussion.
Oh, this is sort of real world stuff about... I mean, the Stones were tax exiles and they had to go to France around about this time.
Did they occur?
They were actually going to be... Somehow the government got them to owe more tax than they actually had.
So could you repeat that?
The Rolling Stones were tax exiles at about this time. They actually were compelled to leave and go and live in France because the British government decided they owed them more tax than they actually had. They didn't have enough as much money as the tax department decided that they owed them. I don't know how that happened.
Okay. Did that happen with
but
the
they actually
Beatles, or?
drove these degenerates out of the country somehow by some bit of economic trickery.
Goodness.
And they went and recorded Exile on Main Street in somewhere in the south of France. And then they moved on to America, I guess.
Yeah, usually
Or
it's
Jagger,
Switzerland.
anyway.
Ferber. So Anita Pallenberg's character is called Ferber.
Mm.
This little French girl is not acting. I think she's just being.
Yeah, she's doing her own.
Oh no,
The money
Johnson.
is just no one cares about the money. So that's very anti-Chaz. Everything about this place is just so not Chaz.
So how's he going to make it work? Oh, pounds on.
Well,
Mick
opposites
Jagger
will
bells.
meet, attract, and exchange to a degree. I mean, they're totally going to mess up Chaz with drugs and so on. And supposedly, the Mick Jagger character is drawn the other way, but that's not nearly as clear how that happens.
Now, I'm sure that Nicholas Roeg made sure that there were no naked women when the little girl came in with the tea service. Because you just don't do that. Back in the real world, the outside world.
So Chaz thinks he might still have a friend out there, but I think he may be mistaken.
Oh, front page, bloody hell.
So everybody's after him, the law's after him.
So is the taurine kicked in yet, or?
Not yet. We may not notice. We may just start breaking things.
It does sort of taste vaguely herbal. Some sort of vaguely floral or something going.
Well, they may have put something in there to taste a bit hempy into a hemp drink.
So it looks like Chaz's position is threatened.
Yeah, he doesn't have a friend here either. He's going to have to work on it.
So let's imagine this film is a parable. You know? That the filmmaker... Oh, is that heroin in the arse, is it?
Well, I guess so.
No, it's vitamin B12.
Well, who do you believe there?
I hear that Prince, before he goes on stage, he has a vitamin... I think a B vitamin shot.
Right.
For those interested in such things, if you check out the contract riders for various acts, if you're interested in such things, they're interesting documents, I think. You can Google that up and find out for sure.
What are we Googling? Prince's use of B12?
Yeah, something like that, before performances.
Performance.
It's like a lift. Yeah, before a performance. Maybe it's
Right, that's what Anita's doing. She's juicing herself up for a performance with Chaz. Let's do a number on Chaz. Everyone wants to do a number on Chaz in a different way.
So what are Chaz's options? I mean, he could reform, but he'd just go to jail. He can...
Oh, he's a wanted man.
Leave.
He's got to leave the country, I think.
Well, that little French girl was talking about getting kicked out. Maybe.
Maybe they could all leave the country together,
Oh.
except they're not currently together at all.
Yeah.
Now, this is a great scene where Chaz
Oh, don't tell me.
has to pretend. Well, normally we have no concern about spoilers at all because we're assuming everyone's watched the film.
Okay. All right, well, go ahead then.
This is a great tune by the Last Poets.
Oh, is it?
In the background. These are like pre-rap rappers. These are almost
Cool.
like the original rappers.
Have you heard of a band called Death?
Yeah.
They're
I have
like
heard
pre-punk punk or something? Or
Yeah,
some-
they're a black punk band.
It's all African American, man. That's where it all comes from. We're just kidding ourselves as white boys.
Oh, they're from the 70s, though. It wasn't like they
Yeah.
invented. They were, a sort of hard rock and roll band that sort of
Ain't got
punk did
nothing to
follow.
say.
Yeah, they were probably about 75 or something.
Chaz's
Now,
movements and his
It's almost the
demeanor.
first. Chaz actually kind of digs this music. You get a slight sense that he thinks this is a bit cool.
Mhm.
And so that's his first step into a new world, perhaps.
Yeah, that's rap, man. Pre-rap. This chair.
Oh, the last parts are great. Look him up if you like a bit of rap.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest hip-hop fan, I have to say. but
Well, fair enough.
I like what
He's
they do
got-
instrumentally sometimes. Hey, look, it's getting through, man.
Yeah.
It's getting through, man.
Oh, that's a nice introduction. The two opposites meet. One of them's upside down.
Oh, dear.
That is a strange get-up.
Yeah, wow.
He looks like an amusement park attendant or something. Just those
Look at those
colours.
organs. We've got... They're not wallets. Oh, they could be wallets.
Yeah, now it closes the curtains.
They're not
He's just
hammers.
keeping the outside world out.
Bloody Jagger. It's probably Persian or something. My goodness. Lies, lies, lies.
It's a bit overplayed by Mick at this stage. He hasn't quite settled into the... Assuming this was done sequentially. He's a bit overacting here.
We're talking about Jagger.
Yeah.
I mean, Jagger can just do Jagger, I really.
I'm an artist, Mr. Turner, like yourself.
Well, the thing is that here's the question, right?
Mm.
So Chaz is dissimulating, I guess. I mean, he's lying, right? Yeah. Okay. So,
Mhm.
but is there some aspect of him which is actually making him wonder? You know, could I actually change my life?
Mm.
You know, could this not be an act? Could I
Well,
actually?
if you think about it, Chaz does have to escape his life now.
Yeah, yeah. It's a fascinating. Oh gosh, it's Jagger. Gosh. He's got a costume change. So Chaz's boredom.
Oh, that's a very rogue thing to do, turning one thing into another.
That was.
Turning a mountain into a nipple.
But whose nipple was it? I think it was the little French girl. I can perform, I can.
It's an
Jagger
improbable
form,
exchange. If he just wants him to leave, he's going through a lot of trouble. Telling him so.
A bit like us, these two characters talk past each other.
Mm. Yeah, well, Jagger's doing a bit of performance here, really. He's not quite telling Chaz, look, room's not available.
Uh-huh.
He's going, I am Turner, and here's my shtick.
So I guess a few things. One is that for people that are into performance, there is, oh, look at that, there is often this quality of the sense, sometimes expressed, of, one isn't really doing much more than existing unless one is performing. It's only through performance that one's truly sort of alive or really here, really present. He doesn't.
Well, that's like the tree in the forest. Something has to be communicated to someone else, or it doesn't exist, or something.
But what I'm getting at is the idea that, can performers simply be? They must always perform. There seems to be like a truism, right? That I don't think it's true, but
Well, actually, Nick Cave, if I can mention him, said
Please.
something about that recently. He said musicians or rock stars are one of those artists who can't ever really take their mask off. Actors can take their mask off.
Right, yeah. It's true.
But
It's true.
if you're a star in your own right, if you're famous for being yourself, then it's hard to take your mask off.
And what I think that means practically is that one can't just sort of say, "G'day, how you doing?" to people you meet on the street,
You have
unless
to
that's
live
part of your
up-
persona.
You have to live up to something because you are.
Indeed.
It's not like you're Chaz. If you meet. God, I've forgotten his name. Our actor here, James
James
Fox.
Fox.
You don't expect him to be Chaz, but you expect Mick Jagger to be Mick Jagger.
Well, here's a little French girl. Does she like him, perhaps? Is that what's happening?
Oh, she will. They'll all get to like him in the end because he's a novelty.
That's all it takes.
He's a stranger in their world.
Yeah.
Because you do get the sense that none of them ever leave this place.
Yeah. There are still people that live like this. This is, and there's a lot of people that try to live like this, and you can find them in warehouses. I was just saying that there are people that live like this even now.
Yes.
And there are many.
Well, I have
many
to say,
more
I
who try
found
to.
the whole thing quite attractive when I was young, and I thought
Sure.
I'd like to live in a house like this. And
It's
I don't know
designed
that I
to-
would never go out, but
It's
a
designed to
little
appeal
world
to
of your
people.
own like this was very, very attractive.
Were they magic mushrooms? I talked about magic
Oh,
mushrooms
probably,
earlier. But,
yes, we are going to have some magic mushrooms.
Um,
You didn't bring a canned drink called
no,
mushroom
No,
or something.
that's a fly
Magic.
agaric or aspic
That
or something.
one, don't eat the red one.
Yeah,
don't
aren't
eat
they
the
deadly
red-
or something?
Yeah, totally. That's like the classic
Right.
poisonous mushroom. Magic mushrooms just look like
They do?
plain old white
They do,
grey
okay.
mushrooms with a bit of a tinge to
I
it.
have no idea. I'm so clueless about drugs, it's pathetic. Bromel, that sounds promising. Oh, he's still got that browning, it looks like.
Maybe he's got to get that stuff out of his hair.
Yeah. Hide it in the coat, mate. Remarkably nice looking shirt except for those stains. But
So I'm
still,
not sure how all that ended up. Somehow he's not being hassled anymore, and
I
looks
think
like
he
he
talks
doesn't
right
have to
through it,
leave.
didn't he? He just kind of
I thought Mick
held
said-
his ground.
Jagger said, "What?"
Didn't he sort of held his ground in that sort of oblique? This is the thing, is in Jagger's world, things are not either.
Jagger's gave up, I guess.
But there's this sense in which things are not either yes or no, but there's sort of this ambiguous space, and you can turn that into whatever you want if you know, if you have the vibe, you know.
Mm.
He was a chart buster.
So they're all talking about it in the past sense, so he's obviously no longer
Isn't this girl great?
out there, he's in there.
She's perfect. Is she Roeg's daughter or something? She's great.
Mm.
Didn't they? Actually, these two have much more in common than.
Well, they talk the same language.
Oh, he likes the bird. Furber. You'll have to focus on little French ones. That was the reason for the Marianne Faithfull, presumably.
So apparently the legend has it Keith Richards was lurking around outside this house the whole time. He's suspicious that Anita Pallenberg and Jagger were having an affair. And
Oh, Pallenberg was with Keith, was
Yes,
she?
yeah.
Okay. She's not having an affair with him. She's just viewed with him in bars.
all they're
and
doing
things,
was
yeah.
sex scenes.
Sure. Who does? See, the French girls figured it.
No one cares. The thing is, they may not like him, but they can't be bothered getting rid of him because they don't need the conflict.
He changed his mind. There you go, dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Didn't see all that happen.
upset.
He's an audience. I guess he's an audience for a turn.
That's the thing. You got it.
He's found someone
Well
to,
done.
because he did start dancing around, and he's found someone to perform for.
But he's not very responsive. He has to learn how to become a better audience member.
Mm.
Good speaking voice, Jagger. Gosh, I know women that look like that, actually. It really looks like a scary lady.
I don't know what they're reading there. Could be something
It's his
famous.
book, isn't it? He's working on a book, presumably.
Oh no, he's reading. Oh, we
Oh, he's
could
reading
have seen
a
what
book,
that was. No, he's just reading aloud.
These random acts that just happen, fly in my eye. Good question. Would that be a magic mushroom that she's eating there?
Possibly.
Okay.
I think they're not wasting any time.
Don't they cook them or something?
Don't have to.
Okay.
No,
Boxing?
actually, you wouldn't. No, you'd probably destroy the chemicals if you cooked them.
Oh, okay. Right. Blow it for you, Tony. You. I said that wrong. Okay, so what I'm trying to get is this.
Yeah.
So Roeg is sort of, at the subtextual level. Is he not talking about this idea of possibility for self-transformation, of taking a crisis and turning into not just a survival solution, but actually, something that completely, transforms everything. That in the teeth of a crisis, if you do the right thing, the right moves, and maybe follow your intuition and not your rationality, not your like psychopath's rationality, that there's some possibility that you can be more, that you can be. And we talked about the theory of art, didn't we? One of the theories of art from I forgot his name now, Collingwood. This idea that if you have the clear destination in mind when you produce the work, then it's not art. It's some sort of kitsch or porn or something.
Sure.
And this idea that our own lives, if our own lives are works of art, what is it that is it the amount of effort you expend? Should your intent be kind of open? How can you act without an intent? How can you perform? how can you engage in the reality of your life? Without having some sort of ideology and all of that's falling apart in the postmodern era. There's no ideology that seems immutable. It's.
Yes, well, we seem to be very rigid in performance. We seem to be facing all these crises that we are failing to deal with at all, really. It's like our attempts to adapt to threats are
just ridiculous.
Really glacial.
Doesn't he realise he has to get like a frilly shirt and a colourful jacket? He's going to just keep the straight man thing going on. Why'd you change your hair colour? Oh, sorry, I've got the wrong voice.
Don't really know what he's up to now.
Goodness.
I mean, he just has to stay there. So is he just looking for someone to talk to, or?
Yeah, he's lovely.
Or does he need something at this point? I don't know.
He has ideas, God, she's beautiful, isn't she?
Oh, he needs 6 cents for the phone.
Oh, she doesn't like us here. She preferred it before.
I don't care what he wants. He's just an amusement. I think Mick's a bit out of it. He's just playing a word game.
Yeah. There is a... There's a lot of threat in this.
So as we go in the back of Turner's head now, look through his eyes.
Yeah.
Very roguish.
Yeah, it's a nice, interesting technique, actually.
Oh, and now time for change. They're going to turn into each other.
Yeah, they're both very, very Oh, you're talking about beautiful men, but I mean like they're all carefully lit. Yeah, Roig is letting us drink in mushrooms.
So he's really just stumbled into this whole mushroom thing, hasn't he?
He is.
It's not like they've tricked him to take them. He just walks in and has one.
Yeah, I guess in a sense, Chaz is a bit more like a 50s guy in a way, isn't he? He's 10 years out of date.
This is the 60s taken over. This is taken over the 50s, or it plays pushing aside the 50s.
Bugatti's back too, Anita. Bugatti has not gone away.
I mean, these are the boomers. These are the boomers in their heyday.
Bloody hell.
When they thought they were going to do
boomers.
Great things and change the world.
No, they're just
Before
sitting
they
on top of
wanted
us.
to change it all back again.
Boomers. But hang on a second. To be a boomer, you have to be born late 50s, don't you? Isn't it sort of? Everyone
well,
here
they
is too
sort
old,
of
surely.
when they came up with the idea of Gen X, they found there was a gap and they needed a dividing line. They moved the end of the boomers up to 61 or 2 or something.
The early 60s.
Originally, you had to be born in the 50s, I think.
Right.
And then some clerk came along and said, "Oh wait, there's an anomaly here. We have to join the two together, or there's a bit in the middle that we don't meet."
Yeah, I like to make fun of people that are boomers who think they're... What's after boomers? Gen X, is that right?
Mm.
Who think they're Gen X. And
Well, there was a thing called the blank generation before
gosh.
there was Gen X, which was kind of the punk generation.
So self-transformation hasn't worked so well, so transformation by proxy perhaps.
Well, they're sort of they're satirising what he is now. They're making
Right.
him a movie gangster.
He looks a bit like the lawyer too that he was...
So before they deconstruct him, they're going to send him up. And
Why don't you try this mushroom? It's very nice. What kind of a name is Ferber? Jagger. Nice pirate shirt.
well, it's the narcissism thing. It's interesting. You'd think narcissism is Jagger's thing, but it's probably actually Chaz's thing as well, in a different way.
Right.
Chaz has plenty of time looking in the mirror, I think.
So, here we go. So transformation and double exposure on a Polaroid. That's impossible. What's going on?
I think Chaz is starting to lose it now.
The drug is taking effect.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
looking a bit disoriented, but at the same time sort of
Yeah. How
relaxed. But where the hell am I?
So how would we predict? How would he be? What amazing trousers she's wearing. How would we predict his reaction? I mean, he's already mentally problem. I mean,
Well, he's going to be
problem-
paranoid now, which is a
Is that
classic
typical?
drug symptom.
Right. Isn't that more an upper drug thing, like the cocaine people get paranoid? Isn't it? Is it the?
Oh, it's probably possibly. I don't know. I'm not a cocaine person at all, actually.
Well, it always is
Not that I eschewed it, just never came my way. Really.
I've seen I've seen David Bowie be very paranoid around his cocaine for some reason, but
Right.
in some film or somewhere, it's a documentary.
Well, it's more that the amygdala is affected. You become sort of
Oh, I see.
on guard. Probably your heart rate would go up, that sort of thing. Adrenaline would start.
Oh, they've seen
We've
his
seen
back.
the scars. It's a juggling accident.
Yeah, his character. Yeah.
It's Pope.
Yes, Mick.
Yes,
That's
he's
right.
sussed him out. Oh, here we are. The guards dropped. They've all confessed.
And it is Anita Pallenberg straddling him in silk
Chaz-
trousers.
Chaz has allowed them to see his scars. And he needs help, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, is Chaz a murderer? I mean, he murdered that guy, right? I mean, it was
Well, not
some
without provocation.
Yeah,
And in the movies, you can do that if you've got enough justification. You can
sure.
just go
I mean, the other guy
shoot
didn't have a gun, but and actually the guy was in his house. So by those American sort of rules, he
totally. Home
quite
invasion,
misread.
self-defense.
Yeah. Okay, so let's assume that's the first time and only time he's actually killed anyone. So the moral state of Chaz, is he redeemable? You know, what do you think?
Oh, I think so.
Okay.
I think he totally comes on board with his new friends.
Right.
Unfortunately, it doesn't sort of come to a happy ending, but... Oh, then again, no. Well, actually, he does something at the end that's... I don't know. I don't know if I should say what it is.
Well, hold off, because I mean,
I will. But he does something quite gangster-like at the end.
yeah. Actually, Robert Johnson apparently used to play a little bit like this. He would sort of face the wall,
Yeah.
and people wouldn't see exactly who he was playing, and he would get that sound off the wall, that bounce.
Oh, there are a lot of crazy stories about Robert
There are,
Johnson.
yes, there are indeed.
Even that he went to the crossroads and met the devil.
Indeed, yeah. Well, I don't know if I actually mean indeed. I mean, indeed, that story is told, yes. Here we go. So, the idea of possession. So, here we go. One wants to be a great performer, one sells one's soul to some not entirely pleasant entity who then transforms your performance. That's clearly, being referenced, I think, here. In voodoo, the voodoo religion,
Yeah.
they have this concept of being ridden by the spirits during the ceremonies. But I mean...
Oh, there you go. He just mentioned that.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so this idea that it's a very common idea in media, right? In the entertainment world, is that where does great talent come from? It seems to come from all sorts of places in sort of random ways.
Yeah, well, you're getting at, is it channeled from beyond, sort of thing, or is it just coming entirely from yourself? Or do you become a transmitter?
Sure, and the thing is, do we respond to musical performances which are kind of plugged into a source rather than musical performances which are incredibly accomplished technically? And I think it's clearly the case that there are many, many incredibly influential and significant performers who seem terribly simple in many ways.
Yeah.
And yet when they perform, they do seem to access something which is deep and rich and ancient somehow, and maybe this talk, this old trope of possession is some way of trying to explain that, Oh, hey man. Oh look, he's in the grip.
Okay. He's peaking now, we might
He's
say.
peaking, is he? Okay. So what should he be experiencing? He's getting unusual colour?
He would be, well, if you want to go to Aldous Huxley, wrote one of the books on LSD, or this is psilocybin, but it's a similar stuff, called The Doors of Perception, and
Doors of Perception,
opens the doors of perception.
So you have an unfiltered view of
unfiltered
reality.
vision. There would be vividness and unfamiliarity, things would appear fresh that were formerly familiar.
So Mick is going to be giggling his arse off at this.
He's looking at something as if he's never seen it before.
It is a beautiful table. On his way where? Oh, he must go to
to becoming Turner, I guess. Which we had that whole little visual essay of the mirror. Who's on his way from not being Chaz. In a sense, they're helping him escape, as we sort of said before.
No.
He's making an escape of sorts.
He's
Changing his identity.
Sure.
It's a pity they didn't make a bit more of that. Like, he needs to change his identity.
See, at the moment I'm still
That's just
convinced.
making it obvious.
See, I think the failure of Chaz. I mean, at this point in time, I'm sort of thinking, Chaz, if you could imagine a different reality, a different...
Don't eat that mushroom. That's gotta be...
Is that the deadly one, isn't it?
That is not a magic mushroom.
It doesn't look very nice. Look at those white bits.
That's the devil mushroom.
Is she offering it to him?
Don't know.
What the hell?
It certainly isn't the one they... It's not the one they ate.
Shift on. Is that the pistol? What the hell?
So I just had a short freak out. That was all right. Now he's sort of back in the game.
Well, they talk about trephination or something. Bloody hell. You're going to drill his head. Mangalore.
This is sort of kind of referring to the end of the film.
9 milli.
The gun and going into your skull and stuff.
Dear, dear. Yeah, Jagger does a good job, I think, in this thing.
Mm.
I mean, he's remembered positively in this film, I think.
Yeah.
Broadly speaking.
In retrospect, yes. One of the better rock stars
Yeah.
acting.
Did Michael Hutchence ever act? I think he did Space Dogs or something, or some dogs.
Oh, yeah, Dogs in Space.
Dogs in Space.
Yeah.
Was that any good? Do you remember?
It wasn't a bad movie. I don't think
Okay.
he was great in it. Yeah.
I mean,
I
he's
don't
just
think he was a natural actor, no.
he's just Al McJagger.
He's
or
just
was.
being himself.
Look, it's Nick Cave.
So the performance that achieves madness.
Yes, it goes all the way.
Yes.
No
That line
circumspection.
that's an off-sided line from this film. That's kind of what you were talking about.
It is?
Being possessed, perhaps, or relates to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's look at it different ways. I mean, let's assume that there is no spirit world, right? Let's have a scientific view of reality. So when people are possessed, what's going on? I mean, maybe a psychologist would say, well, some part of their psyche is unleashed, allowed to behave as it would like to.
Yeah.
It's within them. There's nothing external. You know. Does that mean that all of us are potentially wonderful performers who just are not in touch with the source?
Well, that's a big question. Yeah, what is talent and what is all that stuff that goes into being an artist?
The film bumps into these ideas in this very weird, kind of oblique way, which is kind of a light touch. I mean, these days, you would probably, if you wanted to deal with those themes, you'd probably have to deal with them directly and have characters talking, about that stuff or something. But I mean, I don't know, audience members, listeners, out there when you saw this film, did you? Oh, it's Doctor Who. Did you? I mean, the range of implications, does that include some of the stuff that we're talking about, or are we completely off? Or
Sorry, what are you...
oh no, don't worry. No, I was actually asking the audience, so feel free to write in and let us know.
Yeah, we have a comment section on the website.
Or we'll send an email. I think we have an email, don't we? We must have an email.
We'd have to give them an email address, which we don't have.
We will do by the time you hear this.
Otherwise, go to overlookedpictures.com
.com.
and leave a comment.
Indeed.
Then everyone else can read it too.
So they're talking about.
Well, he's reading. I don't know what he's reading.
It's the King of the Mountain. So the original assassins. It's a corruption of the word hashashin, which is from the hashish. And the idea was that he would get a bunch of bogans or yokels or rednecks, or not rednecks, basically unsophisticated country boys. And this was back in the Middle East, I think in the 800s or 900s or something. And he would basically show them, he would get them drugged, he would show them this special kind of theatricalized inner sanctum where there was beautiful women and food and wonderful stuff going on. And what would happen is that he would then afterwards, after they come down, he would say, "You've seen heaven, and awaiting you in heaven are all sorts of wonderful joys." So this reality is not real. It's not what it's all about. It's the heaven. That's the important thing. And your death is merely a doorway to get you into that wonderful heaven. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a situation where your death, which will give you access to heaven, will basically have some benefit. And what they would then do is these young men would then go out and become either wrote as straight-off assassins, or more interestingly, they would become important, or they would eventually become important figures in the bureaucracies of governments.
Mm.
And they inspired great fear. It's a long game, obviously. They inspired great fear because they would activate, kill, and wait to be arrested.
Mm.
And what this indicated was that anyone could be one of the Hashashin, anyone at all, and when they're activated, they will just kill who they're meant to kill, and there's no way of stopping them because they're trusted.
Mm.
Goodness. And that's just, anyway, so it's a fascinating thing, and of course it's motivated and shaped, one could argue, all of the suicide-oriented, I guess, espionage and terrorism ever since.
Mm. I mean, here's a need of deconstructing Chaz's gender boundaries for him.
Goodness. So did they actually get it
With
on?
a
I
reasonable
suppose they
amount of
do.
success.
Look, Mick's watching.
Mick's not sure about this now, but he's,
Does Mick care? Come on.
I don't know if he cares, he's just not sure what to do, maybe. Well, I think, yeah, I mean, his journey is less clear. He's supposed to come a little bit towards, he's supposed to transform a bit as well, but...
Mick.
Yeah, he's supposed to take on a bit of Chaz or learn something from Chaz. And eventually he says he wants to leave with him. But it's really not clear what Chaz has to offer him, other than a taste of the world outside. Maybe what makes him want to re-engage with the world outside, because something interesting from outside has come in.
So the situation here is what Thurber is being intimate, physically intimate with Chaz on the condition that he's dressing as a woman. Is that basically what's going on?
It started out that way.
She's used to a bit of manhandling, I think. Like. Gosh.
Yes. Turner's stuck.
We're all stuck. Everyone's. That's 20th century art is stuck totally.
Yeah.
You know. But the desire to perform, the desire to do art continues. It's unremitting. But what do we do? You know, what's the? I'll play with your feet. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
That's a good touch.
I think it's probably an archetypal thing. The performer kind of peaks and then doesn't know where to go from there.
Yeah.
And there's no point
Repetition.
repeating what's been done before either.
Well, if they're serious, yeah, repetition should be unsatisfying. Yeah, well, serious. I don't know if serious is the word, but true to themselves or to their muse. Who knows? So Pallenberg, is she a muse? I mean, she seems to be kind of behaving like a muse in a sense, but he's not an artist. But can a muse turn a man who is not an artist into?
Well,
one?
she can talk the talk, I think. She could be a muse for anyone who found her musable.
Do muses get a fair shake, really? I mean, I think, oh gosh. A recording studio, yes, right. With a mirror ceiling, that's not the best, actually. Yeah, Mick, we all know that Bowie studied mime. I wonder what Mick studied. I mean, there's something going on.
He went to the London School of Economics before becoming a rock star.
Is that where he came from, really?
Yeah.
You serious?
Yeah. Oh, and he worked as a wardsman in the mental asylum too. I mean, that was just
Cool.
just a cash job, obviously.
Oh, he would have loved
He
to
did
love
study economics.
Indeed.
And he likes his money. He's a sensible. He's a real businessman.
Sure.
Mick. And
Sure.
He's didn't let up that whole Stones thing slip out of his hands at all.
We should never forget that entertainment money is just peanuts compared to financier money. It's it's a different world. Not entirely convincing. James Fox's grooving.
No, but I believe he's into it.
He's into it.
He wants to do it.
He doesn't know what to
He's,
do. There was a
He's
few
mind
frame-
melding with Mick. there.
Did you see there was a few frames of a flash of a cartoon or something, some sort of comic book?
I think that was a poster of him
Okay.
that we saw before. But, yeah.
Doing it in your ear hole. Whoa! Flashback.
So Chaz is going to have an epiphany, a dream.
So Chaz has
Sequence.
become... That's Jagger, right, okay. Gosh, he really looks like Nick Cave, doesn't he?
So I guess what is happening here, this is in Chaz's mind,
Uh-huh.
Turner has
Music!
transformed his worldview. So now he's
Oh no! Did you see
reviewing his
that?
own world having been Turnerized. It's also an excuse for Mick to do a song and
Yeah.
probably sell a few records on the back of the film.
Yeah. This actually does feel... This is like the most indulgent bit, I think, so far.
But visually there'll be something going on, and it'll be about sort of taking these guys apart. They start dancing and becoming sexualized in ways that they don't weren't before, and that sort of thing.
This is a video clip, dude.
Oh yeah.
Are you a Rolling Stones fan?
I was.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I still am,
no.
but you know.
Oh dear. I'm not a Rolling Stones fan, I have to say.
Hmm.
I just, it's like a bunch of white boys doing African American music in a way that's palatable to a bunch of reactionary kids from the 60s. So
yeah,
where that...
But
anyone who doesn't
but
like...
that's its context. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think it was dishonest.
Oh, they honestly wanted to be successful, yeah.
Oh, I think they honestly liked the music
Sure.
and could interpret it,
Sure.
sort of, and developed it.
Well, yeah. I mean, like Rolling Stones are like a reality show compared to the actuality. Oh, they're getting undressed. Oh, bloody hell. Oh, no. This we don't need.
Yeah, well, they're really pulling that whole world apart now.
Oh, thank goodness Mick has long hair again. Mick looks a lot like... I'm just doing associations, aren't I? Maybe it's that kind of film. Maybe you're meant to free associate. Who knows? The Game of Thrones TV thing. Do you watch this thing? This Game
I
of
have
Thrones.
done, yeah.
The Queen Mother. The sort of slightly hard actress, British
yeah, I know
actress.
who you mean.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Mick is like a brunette version of her.
Right, okay, fair enough.
Same facial structure.
I see what you mean, actually, yeah.
Oh, she is a brunette, actually, ordinarily. This is really a long damn scene. Come on, guys. And these dudes with their roses, they're like, oh, we're hanging out with Mick Jagger. Naked. Isn't this great?
I think this thing's maybe said what it had to say now. And,
You know what? But here we go. You know what, man? You know what? You meant to say what?
What?
You know what?
What?
Bloody Brad Pitt owes a debt to Mick Jagger. Look at this.
Right.
This is Brad Pitt.
Well,
He does this kind of stuff.
I guess so, yeah. You're not
he's
just
getting
picking
up
up
on
on
the face.
physical similarities.
No, he gets in the face of other characters. Oh gosh, look at this. Nicholas
Well,
Roeg.
You can make what you want of that, listener. I don't even want to interpret that.
What do we make of it? I'm assuming that he's being confronted by aspects of his own subconscious.
Mm.
Yeah, Mick's got a good memory. I've been drugged. This is a very effective technique, actually. When you have a character who's a fish out of water, and you have other characters who imply constantly that they're doing something wrong. Don't you realise you should have done whatever it was you were meant to have done? You haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
And there's repeat, and they freak out.
Well, that's a kind of a drug thing too. That's part of being lost. The things that were once important are no longer important.
Right. The gun you're talking about.
No, I was talking about the phone call.
Oh, right. Oh, look. He did do you up. It's true. I hope those girls don't blow their heads off accidentally.
So he's got a payphone in his
Yeah.
house. That's a little bit strange, but I
No,
guess if
some
you had a lot of
people did.
visitors, he would probably do that.
Yeah. There's some millionaire in America was very famous for having a payphone out in the public areas of his house.
Mm.
That's when a million... That's a great photo.
They're not being terribly helpful making that his passport photo, are they?
Also, I think I've been a bit romantic. I really don't think Chaz has anything that he could use as a platform for performance. I mean, he doesn't juggle. Definitely, we've never seen him juggle.
Mm.
But he does perform. I mean, he's a standover man, right? I mean, he performs very effectively. But that's not going to work in this world unless he finds some way of applying it.
Yeah.
All right, so the trusted friend looks as though he is not to be trusted because one of
Well, they've
Harry's...
just moved in, and now he can't help Chaz anymore because they've caught up with him.
I know that actor. He was in Star Wars. I think he was in Empire Strikes Back. I think he was...
He's Captain Needa or something. He's the one that gets
survived.
strangled.
Oh, does he?
The,
Does he survive? Oh, okay.
He goes, I'll apologise to Lord Vader myself.
Yeah, the guy.
Apology accepted, Captain Needa. I think that might be him.
A bit deeper. Apology.
Either that or it was the guy standing next to him who watched him die.
Gosh. Yeah, there was an older guy, wasn't it? Yeah.
No, you'll be next if you fail me, sort of thing.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's who he might be. There are a few British actors in the Empire in that first film, aren't there?
Oh, there's that very famous painting.
Peter Cushing.
Oh, look, pyramids, as they say. He's on the run. Oh, they know he's a gangster.
He's a gangster. Hmm. Oh, they found his gun, didn't they?
Yeah. I think, were handguns illegal at this point in Britain? They'd have to
Yeah,
be.
but he's supposed to be a juggler.
Oh. It's a stereograph or gram or something. These girls are like kittens. They just sleep.
Sorry?
These girls sleep like kittens.
Hmm.
Oh no. Man, nothing's changed.
Sure what's going on there about the bandits in the mountain.
So he's in his bedroom because of the green light, I think. Yes, indeed. Oh, Mick wants some answers. Mick, you need to just go out and have a walk, you know, and go out and experience the fresh air and get out of the house. How can they stand it? Oh, no, it's Mick. Oh, bloody hell. Oh, well, there you go.
That was a bit of trickery.
You know, whenever this blues guitar kicks off... Oh, it's the little French girl. Okay.
Oh, you didn't know? No, he
I
didn't
was
kiss. He
confused.
didn't kiss Mick.
I was confused. I was confused.
But you were supposed to think that.
Well, how was it done? There was a cut with Mick in the bed, and then she rolled onto him, and it was her.
Yeah,
That's
just a
okay,
cut.
right.
One actor and then the other.
Well, the hair's different length as well.
I don't know. Is that another journey for Chaz? He appreciates smaller breasts. I don't know. It could be all part of the part of the therapy. And he says, "Yeah, you look like a little boy."
Yeah.
But that's okay now.
Who does the cleaning?
Oh, he actually looked outside.
Yeah. Goodness. Yeah. So the script. Let's talk about dialogue. I think there's some weak points in this area.
Well, might have been a bit of improvisation
Yeah?
going on in this film. I don't know. Maybe not. Oh, he's got an Nemesis ring.
Here's a prop. I'll comment on the prop. You comment on the prop. Close up on the prop. Goodness.
Anyway, I think this is all just Chad's kind of opening up. And
Is that plane going backwards? No. It's not. I think he's wearing one of Turner's shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the pinky ring on. There we go. He doesn't know a name. Was it still called Persia in '68 or whatever it was?
I
Maybe.
think it may have
Yeah.
been. No, there was the Shah of Iran, so it changed names before the Shah
Went down. Yeah.
went down. So I couldn't tell you really.
The CIA recently admitted to that. I think in the '50s. The '50s. What was her name?
Well, was Persia two countries that were later divided?
No, I don't think so.
Persia was a region which then
Well, it was an
became
empire.
Iraq and Kuwait. And
It was an empire that went all the way to
Mm.
the Mediterranean, I think.
Mad.
So he's got the eyebrow pencil. There we go. So I think Chaz has given up. I mean,
I think he's totally transformed. He's just comfortable in that wig now. He's wearing Turner's clothes. He's actually going to do this girl a favour, which he probably wouldn't have done for his girlfriend.
Well, he didn't have a girlfriend. There was some squeeze that he had. That
And
night.
everything's beautiful. And oops,
Oh,
the
dear.
boys.
Please. No, it's the gangsters. Isn't
Oh,
it?
what's happened to you, Chaz?
It's the gangsters. Yeah. Oh, he looks ridiculous, doesn't he?
He's... Crikey, I'm nicked.
Well, no, nicked is when it's the cops.
Mm.
Coppers. No, sorry. Rosie. You might get your 9mm.
That sounds pretty menacing.
Yeah, they're going to kill him and they're going to bury him.
Down to the country.
Hey. He's got it. Cocked and locked. Someone's going to die. Sure. I'll
So
let
his
you have
face,
it.
I mean, he's a different person now.
He looks terrible, yeah.
He's looking a bit melancholy, a bit soft.
There was a guy with a sword off. I didn't see that.
Right, yeah.
He was being covered.
But it would be very messy too.
Well, you had to kill a few other people. You know.
Yeah.
If you're in the business of killing people, it's just more people. More clients, you know. Yep. He doesn't say I want to. He says I'm going to. Turner sees a way.
Yeah,
out.
I mean, Turner's journey is not clear to me. He just likes jazz now, and he didn't before this.
Yeah, that could have been developed more.
But
such
there
that-
was a sense of maybe you're my excuse to get out of my self-imposed exile.
Yeah, I would have liked it actually if there was some means by which they could have exchanged identities.
But it was a bit of a one-way street, really, wasn't
Or like the passenger, you know, with Antonioni or something. If they'd looked similar or something, I don't know, some way. I mean, he's a famous guy, so that wouldn't be possible. He's known. But maybe if he was a music producer or some other variable.
it? It says, I do, almost like they're married.
Who knows?
Now, how do you interpret what's going to happen here?
Oh, from a Freudian perspective, dude. Of course.
Well, can we say what's going to happen before it happens?
No, don't.
Hmm?
No, don't. Let's let it play out.
Just in case you haven't watched the film, we're not going to tell you what's about to happen.
See, we're surrounded. It's like, and there's no cops. The one copper that made an appearance was pretty ineffectual.
Now, originally he was going to get his new girlfriend some soap, but it's kind of, things have changed a bit, haven't they?
Mick, you're in danger. And dandruffy. Oh dear.
Rising sound effects.
So he shoots that hole.
So,
into
what the
Mick.
hell was that? Was that a mercy killing?
To kill Mick.
Yeah, why would he kill me?
Was Mick asking for it? Was he suicidal?
Yeah, or did he have a death wish? I don't think. If he did it, I find that not clear enough to be satisfying. Going to perish at Chaz.
He wants to leave that memory in her mind. So she's not wounded, but she's obviously been cradling.
Well, she's hiding, really. But they're doing it in a strangely stylized way.
Yeah, this is an action sequence, isn't it? Goodness. So Chaz dropped him off in the cupboard.
Yeah.
Pallenberg.
I think that was just for the confusion value. I think it might be Anita Pallenberg. It doesn't really make much sense that he would be put in a cupboard, unless they put him in a cupboard.
Why would he check on him? I need to check on him.
But no one's really covered their tracks very effectively by putting Turner in a cupboard, I don't think.
We're probably being too literal.
Mm.
Why is there not?
Yes,
a
I don't think this makes literal sense at all. Anything that's going on here, it's all
It's dreamlike.
symbolic.
Hey, that's the same roller, but it's been repainted. There we are.
Well, that's like going to heaven or something, isn't it? That car.
what?
It's like God.
It's the same
In a
roller.
white suit.
He's like, I'll put acid on your rolls, so I'll buy it. Hey, that looked like me.
Yeah. Well, they've merged.
Oh, I'm confused now.
No, they've merged. No, it wasn't Mick. It was both Chaz, but they've merged identities.
That looked like Mick. It had Mick's lips.
Oh, it was Mick. It was Mick Jagger.
Yeah,
on the car.
but it's meant to be. Yeah, okay. Look, if you're big, you get caps. If you're small, you get lowercase.
Yeah.
So fascinating film, and this open-ended quality that Roy does so well.
Hmm.
Donald Campbell, no idea who you are. Nicholas, he also did the cinematography.
Campbell was a big player here. What was his credit there? Producer or
Writer?
Writer. Yeah.
He was a big player.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't really research Campbell, and he was co-director.
Right, co-director.
Yeah, he was a big creative driver in this film. I forgot to sort of
Did it say
look him up a
co-director?
bit and tell a few stories about him, but
This is there's very few co-director films. There's the Moog you were saying.
well, they probably didn't do everything together. I think he just did enough creatively that he earned a director's
Right.
credit.
Right.
But I don't know how much actual filmmaking he would have done, on the set.
Right.
It may have been his idea, and he may have set up the scenario and whatnot.
Made by Good Times Enterprises, man. Twickenham Film Studios. Presumably for the interiors, I guess.
Okay. Well, I actually did feel quite relaxed after that hemp.
Yeah.
Which was not hemp, which was actually guarana,
Taurine.
taurine and caffeine.
B12 and all that stuff.
Masquerading complete with hemp leaf,
Yeah.
marijuana leaf, as something called hemp.
Replete with caffeine and caffeine variants.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was. Do you have any closing comments about Nicholas
Oh,
Roeg's performance?
yeah,
before
well, I just want to say
and
that-
Donald Campbell's performance.
Yeah, for me, it was a film,
Have a look.
an interesting film about the, the failure of the person, I guess, who's committed to, a certain type of life to transform themselves, to be trapped by.
Yeah.
But in this weird way at the end, with that final shot of Mick and the roller, it looks as though maybe there was an out, but of course it's not logical. It's
No.
the identity of these two characters is kind of fused.
Yeah.
So, insofar, how do if something doesn't make sense, how can it be a solution for a viewer in a sense, in terms who actually thinks about these questions in terms of You know, I mean, do all films? The reason that I'm interested in film, I think, is one of the reasons, is that it has some way of talking about possibility. You know, in some sense. So, you know, and it does that using images, and images are very powerful. That's sort of the way I think about it. I think there's a lot. I'm actually increasingly thinking that film is actually a very, very bad medium for information transmission and
Sure.
to really I want to say this, ideas. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
well, there's so much that a film has to do to be watchable that can undermine things that you might want to achieve via it.
It also seems like a medium which is sort of ideally suited to propaganda.
Yeah.
You know, it's just so effective at basically setting up situations where an audience is pushed or pulled, you know, rather than a situation where they're being asked to be rational. You know, what do you make of this? Now, Rogue, I mean, you could argue that Rogue has this sort of ambiguous film, well, this potentially ambiguous ending, so we can make it what we will, but that's also frustrating. You know, if you can make anything of anything, then nothing means anything. You know, is my reaction, you know, my feeling. But what about yourself? To take away from this?
Well, I think it did have things to say that were, you know, things about ideas from the 60s, about destroying notions of masculinity or updating them. I mean, the whole change of generation from the boomers from their parents was quite an upheaval. You know, it was political, the whole generation gap thing, just because there were so many of them. I guess. Right. You know, the youth of the 60s were a huge demographic. Right. They were not a minority. They were you know, a great groundswell of the population, and they were wealthy, and you know there was opportunities there were glimpses of paradise.
Right.
You know, they would change the world, and it would be easy, and the old world would be left behind, which, as we now know, many years later, it didn't quite work out. And in fact, because of them changing their minds, really, and not sticking to that or finding that achievable. So there's a lot of ideology in there, I suppose.
In the film. Not
that I'm saying anything bad about it. I think for the time there are good ideas to get out there. Story-wise, it could have been a hero's journey, and you know the transformation, but it chose to be a tragedy in the end. So there was sort of a triumph, and then it was snatched away.
Yeah, I think kind of what the film was reaching for, I don't think it really did this, but I can imagine, like, you know, if one were to do this kind of film now, or a story like this now, you would have a situation where you have this character who's ambiguous about their criminality, they have this crisis, they then discover this new world, and they ask of themselves, gosh, can I become part of this world, not just as a cover, but legitimately? Can I actually transform myself entirely and actually become, you know, something different from, you know, this criminal character that, you know, was depressing. Now, a psychopath may not think that. I mean, they may not be in a position to consider that at all. They may merely be thinking in terms of what's the opportunity here in terms of my immediate needs, you know, as opposed to, you know, I'm unhappy with my life, or unhappy with this. You know, that's one of the arguments about, you know, sociopathy and psychopathy is that certain questions just don't come up, right? And this is the tragedy, right?
But is he really that's his, because it's a movie, not real? I mean, psychopaths generally don't redeem, but he is a transformed psychopath.
Is he?
He becomes an
Does
empathetic human
he?
being, doesn't he?
I mean, he's a charismatic guy, you know, because the actor's charismatic. But I mean, imagine a very odious, you know, actor playing this role. I think that audiences would have a very different response. It's interesting and I think telling that Rogue is, you know, inhabited his film with these beautiful actors, you know, in many ways. I think that, well, I mean, everyone knows what I think about Anita Pallenberg, for example. Anyway, but so interesting, and I mean, thought-provoking in ways perhaps that films that, you know, are made in sort of the sausage machine that we currently I mean, what's Hollywood doing at the moment? It's comic books and
Yeah.
films and mostly
Well, the whole film
Zombie
world appears
films.
to be in flux. Really, it's
flux.
well,
Mm.
even
Can I-
blockbusters are failing now.
Do you mind if I go and use your flux? I've been sitting here drinking hemp for the last.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's all going down the toilet, isn't it? A bit. Well, cinema was sort of shrinking to blockbusters only. Now blockbusters have been failing.
Yeah, it's
this
very
year.
interesting. And there's always this talk about, we'll do smaller films, we'll do more intimate films, and that doesn't seem to...
Yeah. Well, we don't know what's going to
Yeah.
happen to cinema. One way or another,
Right.
it will live, I think. It's,
well, something like it.
I don't think it's quite replaceable, but
Yeah. Well, this will be a thing that we'll pick up again, I'm sure.
yes. Well, thank you for listening. We'll
thank
leave you with
Yes,
the DVD has we're just looking at the extras page, which has Influence and Controversy. It might be an interesting documentary for you to watch. And you may even be looking at it yourself if you're watching the same DVD we are. Anyway, we're going to let you go now.
Indeed,
Thanks
yes,
for listening.
yes. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Yes.